All right, that's it. Sell your crypto. The entire markets are about to crash. Guys, what is going on? It is your boy, the Master of Coin, and we are back breaking down Bitcoin and whether or not you should be buying it at this point in time. The current date of recording is the 12th of the 6th, 2024. And I want to break down exactly what is going on with the crypto markets, what moves we can expect next, and whether or not it's a good buy. First things first, if you don't know who I am, my name is Kieran Davis, the Master of Coin. I've been trading full-time now for the last 5 years. If you look on my channel, I'll put the videos here. I publicly called the bottom of the last crypto cycle and also publicly called the exact top of the last cycle as well. When it comes to the crypto market, should you be buying? Yes, you should. First things first, if you don't know, crypto follows what we call a 4-year cycle, where this is all revolves around what we call the halving. Now, essentially what the halving is this is an event that's coded into the technology of Bitcoin. And every 4 years, we get a cut in the amount of supply. So long story short, the amount of Bitcoins that are available becomes less and less and less and less over time. And we all know that when supply decreases and demand increases, naturally prices rise. And what you can see on screen here is we actually had a halving very recently. Now, this is a very pivotal point in crypto because if we study the past, that's where the keys to the future can be found. So let's look at the crypto charts from a smart money and Wyckoff perspective. Now, applying this halving, what you can see is each of these black lines represent the halving, which is when that supply for crypto, Bitcoin specifically, gets cut in half. And what happens is we see this 4-year cycle around this halving event, where typically you'll enter a 1-year bear market, and around a year and a half before the halving event, the low will get printed. And once that low is printed, we'll typically enter roughly around a 3-year bear market. Well then, and again, remember the dates and the months, December, right? End of the year. We then enter that roughly 1-year bear market. Then we go on a 3-year bull market again, and look when the high is printed, December. We then enter another 1-year bear market. And again, around a year before the halving, we start that 3-year bull market. And then guess what? December, November, the highest printed of the entire cycle. And then guess what? We enter a 1-year bear market again. And then guess what? Around a year before the halving, a year and a half, we see another bottom to anticipate a 3-year bull market. So, in my opinion, we've got around a year and a half left of this bull market. So is it still time to buy? Now, most definitely, yes, it is still time to buy. Now, if you're a newer investor, and especially if you're not a profitable trader, there's no point trying to time the market and pick, the best possible entries. What I'd recommend you doing is something called dollar cost averaging. Every single week, every single month, or in a consistent period of time, you continue to invest an amount of money. Doesn't matter how much it is, continue to invest something into the crypto markets. Now, for me, long is the time gone where I'm going to be buying Bitcoin, right? Why? Because to be buying Bitcoin now, look at the prices, bro. For this to double your money, it needs to go to $120,000 a coin. Which, is it possible? Yes. But the market cap needs to double for you to actually be making any money. So what you really want to be doing is getting into things like altcoins, in my opinion. And the altcoins are smaller capital coins, which have much larger return on investments. Certain projects like ICP, certain projects like Render, like Rose, these are great coins that have insane upside potential. But of course, you can't just go in and buy a random project. You have to make sure it has things like a use case. Like, what is the purpose of that project? Why would someone buy it? What problem does it solve? Partnerships. What big companies are involved or utilizing that technology? Community. Does it have a raving community of people who believe in this project and are actively putting money in? Firstly, make sure there's no sell taxes on the coins, because some of these little altcoins, they can have sell taxes where essentially you can just be trying to buy it and then you can have like a 95% sell tax when it comes to you want to take profit and they take 95% of your money. Also make sure that the coins are evenly distributed amongst the network and make sure that one wallet doesn't contain majority of the coins, because obviously if they do, that's probably going to be a rug pull like a lot of the shitty coins you see on social media. Now, let's kind of dive into this from more of a technical perspective and look at, because we went through the fundamentals, let's look at exactly what happened during this cycle. Now, of course, if you want to see my videos on the last cycle, where we call the bottom and the top, of course, you can go and watch them in the description. But ultimately, what I really liked about this cycle here is we came in right after that 1-year bear market, and typically these bottoms are printed around November and December time. But more importantly, we had a beautiful Wyckoff accumulation over here print itself. Now, if you don't know what Wyckoff accumulation is, I have done some videos on this in a lot more detail, but essentially, here's what a Wyckoff schematic looks like. Now, if we apply this to the chart of Bitcoin, we can see a very, very similar matchup where price comes here and creates our seller's climax. We then come in, have that automatic reaction, followed by a secondary test, followed by our secondary test in phase B. Now, this is very important what happened in the secondary test in phase B, because during this event, this is when institutions are manipulating the market down and the bigger players to get better buy orders. Because why would they want to buy, for example, at 25,000 when they can shoot it all the way down to 15,000 and get a much better buy opportunity? Now, how we could confirm that this was the low is a few things. Number one, timing. We just had the 1 year bear market, and these bear markets, if you go back and backtest it like I showed you earlier, they only last around a year on average. So we had a 1 year bear market. At the same time, we're in the manipulation of our Wyckoff schematic. And if you look at the volume here, right, we see huge volume absorption. And what does this mean? All right, we see volume absorption and volume divergence. What this essentially means is when the market is shooting down, the volume is spiking, and volume just shows you buy interest, people who are interested to be buying the market and activity. So why is it when the market's trading lower and lower and lower and lower, as it's dropping, we're seeing an increase of volume, more people buying and getting in, followed by the reversal? If the sellers were truly in control, number one, we'd see the volume spike on these highs when the sell orders actually came in first. And then the market wouldn't stop, it would just obviously completely cascade. Furthermore, where are we? We was mitigating and retesting the prior higher time frame reaccumulation. So this is an area of demand. And when you look at like the prior cycles, like once we break a new all-time high, we never come back below that. You know, for example, in 2011, the all-time high was $28. $28, the all-time high, once it was printed, it never came back down to retest that. Creates a new all-time high at 1,300, never came back down never came back down past that all-time high, right? $18,000, never came back down below that. For obviously it retested it, but that's a point of mitigation, which we've done videos on that. So if we go back now to the Bitcoin chart, what else happened at this time where we had that huge volume spike? We had the FTX exchange collapse. Now, what you have to realize is news is an excuse for liquidity. So when you see these big news events like FTX, the biggest exchange, one of the biggest exchanges in the world, collapsing, that made everyone fearful. And at the point of maximum fear, that's the point of maximum opportunity. Because these bigger players, they engineer these narratives across the media to make people fearful, to make people start selling their bags. But if you're selling your crypto, think about this for a second. For you to get that money, for you to actually pocket some money when you sell your crypto, someone has to buy that from you. So who's buying it from you? The bigger players who are manipulating the market lower in our Wyckoff schematic. And again, look, go and back test it on the charts. You will see so many of these Wyckoff schematics over and over again. And at the same time, our 4 year cycle completed, we had that 1 year bear market. Again, if you look at the bear markets on average only last a year, and they print the bottom around December. Look at that, December, bear market. Around a year, when did it get printed? All right, November, December, start of January, same sort of time period. Again, this bottom down here, November, December. Right? So it's the same sort of thing. The lows are getting printed at the same time of year after the 3 year bull market, 1 year bear market. And that's all predicated around the halving, which we explained earlier. Right? Furthermore, what happened? We then created a Wyckoff reaccumulation. And what I find very interesting is when we had this reaccumulation over here, remember the date here, right? This manipulation was on the March 10th. What happened during March 10th? The Silicon Valley bank collapse, where the banking system, loads of different banks started to collapse and billions of dollars was lost. How convenient is it that these banks magically collapse, billions of dollars have lost, and over $230 billion comes into the crypto market, causing that pump? Very convenient. And then since then, we've literally just been seeing our Wyckoff price cycle reaccumulate and reaccumulate and reaccumulate. When you see these reaccumulations, this is institutions and bigger players adding more positions to their portfolio. Remember, when they come in and trade, they can't just buy at one price point because there may not be enough orders at that level. So they have to spend time accumulating and generating liquidity, allowing time to pass and opinions to form. During this sideways motions of these reaccumulations, people are now doubting their positions. You know, that, like for example, people normally chase the market and people normally trade like this. where, for example, they see the market, at discount, and they're like, it's disbelief. If we go back, for example, to the prior cycle, when we were sitting, for example, at like 3,000, went to 4,000, went to 5,000, right? Everyone was in disbelief. Nah, this rally is going to fail like the others because we just crashed 80, 90%. Then it started hitting 7,000, 8,000, 9,000. The emotion switched to hope, right? Then we start going to, okay, it's 14,000, optimism, 15,000, 16,000, 20,000, belief, right? Then we go to 30,000, 40,000, thrill. Oh my God, I've got to tell everyone to buy. And then we obviously hit 69,000 and everyone's euphoric. If you remember back in 2021, everyone was talking about crypto. Everyone was a crypto guru. Everyone was claiming your barber was telling you about it. But at the time, right, of these all-time highs, this is the point of maximum financial risk because we're at a point of euphoria. We're at a premium price. Then what happened? We had a small crash. And this is when I posted my YouTube video, which you can watch here. Complacency. We just got to call off for the next rally. Buy the dip, right? Why would you buy the dip after we just had that 3-year bull market? We know the 1-year bear market's coming. And look when the high was printed, November, December times. And we've seen all the highs being printed in November, December times. How convenient, right? The market started to crash. Drops down from 60K to 40K. The emotion's now anxiety. Everyone who's buying in at all-time highs, why am I getting margin calls? Why is this dip taking longer than I expected? Splashes down to 30K, everyone's in denial. No way, it has to come back. It comes down to 20K, everyone's panicking. Shit, everyone's selling, I gotta get out. Then guess what happens? FTX collapse, capitulation, everyone's getting out of the markets. Now everyone's angry and depressed whilst the market's spending time down here. And guess what? During those troughs, during those lows, that's the point of maximum financial opportunity. And how convenient is it that we had that 1-year bear market sitting 1.5 years before the halving? And then from there, we've obviously entered our bull market. And since then now, right, I still believe, right, we have more to go in this cycle, right? Right now, I think we are honestly sitting in belief. I still think we have thrill and euphoria, and that's based on technical factors and the fundamental factors. What other fundamental factors are driving this up? Well, we've got central banks around the world beginning to lower their interest rates. This is constituting a risk-on environment where institutions are now pulling their money out of currencies and putting it into risk assets. That's why you're seeing cryptos rally. That's why you're seeing the stock market indices, US 30, NAS 100, SPX, rally as well, because money's flowing out of the dollars and flowing out of these, because money's flowing out of foreign currencies and flowing in to these risk assets. So from now, right, we're just following this Wyckoff price cycle. Now, for me, I think if we do get any more dips, the best buy opportunity would be sitting here at this reaccumulation around 43,000. But here's the thing. When it comes to crypto, you do not want to be trying to pinpoint the market. I think the best thing to do with crypto is simply because where we are is dollar cost average. So consistently buying over time. And yes, have some bags where you can be waiting for price to come to demand zones and then buying back in. If we do dip down to 43,000, that would be a great buying opportunity. But it looks like we are starting to reaccumulate here. Either way, this reaccumulation wouldn't be confirmed until we top the high at 73,000. But it looks like we have started to develop this creek over here where everyone starts to sell, and that's where they get their buy order in. Now, what we can also do every time we look at Bitcoin is we can come over to Ethereum. Now, with Ethereum, it's a very, very similar play, right? It's either we break these highs, confirm the reaccumulation, and if we break those highs, all we're gonna do is play the pullback back down into demand to send it higher. So I consistently buy in on over a period of time, but I also keep a bag in case we do get those drops. And then when we do get those drops and come back to demand zones, that's when I'll be looking to buy. So coming back to Bitcoin, right? If we can actually come and break this all-time high, confirm reaccumulation, and then pull back down to around, well, let's fib it up and look for our levels. So if we do confirm reaccumulation by breaking those all-time highs and we can pop down to 65,000 or can pop down back to 60,000 and give lower time frame accumulations, these will be beautiful times to now start getting into altcoins, because you got to understand money flow. Money will flow into Bitcoin first, then into Ethereum, then into the altcoins and the smaller capital coins. And for me, I'm going to continue to be buying crypto until November, December 2025. Because again, that is, if you, like we said earlier, have a look. That is when the highs get printed, November, December times, after the 3-year bull market. And right now we've been in the bull market for roughly around 1.5 years. So we've still got another 1.5 years of price action to go. So I think, again, we're basically kind of sitting around here right now, let it reaccumulate, retest, and then obviously keep sending it to the highs, in my opinion. Of course, I'm not a financial advisor. This is what I did. This is how I made my money on the last cycle when I brought the bottom and sold the top. Obviously, you can go and watch the videos. So guys, if you do want to trade alongside me every single week, what you can do is go down to the description and apply for the Master Coin Mentorship program, where we do not only one-to-one mentorship, but so if you guys do want to trade live alongside me every single week and get my insights, so the coins I'm buying, the markets I'm trading, everything we're doing, go down to the description and apply for the Master of Coin Mentorship program. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And if you guys have any more video requests or any other questions, drop it in the comments and I'm sure to make a video on it. We're on the road to 10,000 subscribers and I'm gonna see you lot at the top from the top because the bottom is way too crowded. Sheesh.